The delivery pinged at 11:47 p.m., a soft vibration against his leg as he waited at a red light. He accepted the order without hesitation. The name was unfamiliar, the address ordinary, the instructions brief, door unlocked. "Come inside." He had seen that message before. People were tired, distracted, trusting. He adjusted his cap, glanced at the GPS, and drove on. A municipal CCTV camera caught his car turning into a narrow street where the lamps buzzed and dimmed like weak stars. The house sat alone at the end, porch light on, windows dark. He parked, grabbed the insulated bag, and walked up the steps. No movement, no sound. He knocked once out of habit, then pushed the door. It opened icily. The air inside felt wrong cooler than outside, thick with dust and something metallic. Ekajidal voice polite, practiced. No reply. The hallway stretched longer than it should have. Walls lined with picture frames turned to the wall. He stepped forward because the job required it, because time mattered, because turning back felt rude. Another camera blinked awake, somewhere near the ceiling. He didn't see it. He placed the bag on a small table and turned toward the door. It didn't move. He tried again, harder. The lock clicked, final. Lights snapped on. A man stood at the far end of the hall, hands visible, posture relaxed. He spoke calmly, asking ordinary questions with a tone that made answers feel expected. Where he was from, how long he'd been driving, whether he liked night shifts. The driver smiled weakly, offered short replies, eyes tracking the distance to the door. The man nodded, listening, stepping aside just enough to block the exit without touching him. Another question came, softer this time, and the driver's shoulders tightened. He understood then this wasn't a delivery. The CCTV footage later showed the precise moment. Fear settled in. His breathing changed. His hands shook. He reached for his phone and froze when the man lifted a finger, a small gesture that carried weight. The phone slid back into his pocket. He tried humor. He tried reason. The man listened patiently, guiding him toward the living room with words alone. On a shelf sat neatly labeled tapes, dates written in careful ink. The driver noticed them and stopped talking. His eyes pleaded instead. The camera captured the stillness before everything changed. The quiet decision made by a man who had invited only one kind of driver inside. The second camera angle began in the living room, wide and unforgiving. The man stayed just out of frame, a voice without a face. He asked the driver to sit. The driver didn't want to, but his legs folded anyway. His gaze darted to the windows sealed shut, heavy curtains drawn. The man explained his rules calmly, as if describing a hobby. No shouting, no rushing. Midnight was important. The driver tried again to stand. A step forward was enough to bring the man into view at last. Expression flat, eyes steady. The driver sank back down. Time moved strangely on the footage. Minutes stretched. The driver spoke about his family, his route, his plans for the morning. He promised to forget everything. The man nodded, almost kindly, and asked him to look at the camera. The driver shook his head. Silence filled the room, broken only by the hum of electronics. The man adjusted something off-screen. The driver's hands trembled as he pressed them together, as if praying without words. When the struggle happened, it stayed mostly outside the frame. Shadows crossed the wall. The sound was absent, but the effort showed in the way the driver's body strained. Then, later, investigators would note the precision. The camera never moved. The lighting remained. The man stepped back into frame only to straighten a chair, to place the unopened delivery bag on the table. He wiped the surface carefully, methodically, then checked the shelf of tapes and added a new label. The driver was no longer visible. Midnight approached. The man looked at the clock. Satisfied, he turned off the main light and paused, as if listening to the house breathe. Days passed before anyone noticed the missing driver. The app showed a completed delivery. The GPS ended at the address. Neighbors remembered nothing unusual. Just a car that arrived and never left. When police finally entered the house, they found the cameras, the tapes, the rules written nowhere but followed exactly. Every victim shared the same detail. Every invitation was the same. The footage ended the same way too. The porch light buzzing, the door unlocked, waiting.